The observation deck of the Stellar Institute hummed with anticipation as the galaxy's most brilliant minds gathered for the annual Innovation Summit. Luna Thorne stood at the center of the crowd, her silver-trimmed uniform gleaming under the artificial lights, a holographic display swirling around her wrist. She had every reason to be confident. 3 years running, she had won the prestigious Nebula Award for groundbreaking discoveries in quantum propulsion. Cameron Wells entered the hall quietly, clutching a worn datapad against his chest. His appearance was unremarkable: faded jacket, scuffed boots, and eyes that seemed perpetually lost in thought. He had arrived at the Institute only 6 months ago, transferred from a remote research station on the edge of the Kepler belt. Most people barely noticed him. Luna certainly hadn't, until today. Ladies and gentlemen, the moderator announced, our next presentation comes from Cameron Wells, who claims to have solved the paradox of faster-than-light communication without quantum entanglement. A murmur rippled through the audience. Luna's perfectly sculpted eyebrows rose in amusement. She leaned toward her colleague, Dr. Vance, and whispered loud enough for those nearby to hear, another dreamer with impossible theories. How refreshing. Cameron approached the podium, his fingers trembling slightly as he activated the main display. Complex equations materialized in the air, cascading like a waterfall of light and numbers. He began speaking, his voice soft but steady, explaining how he had discovered a natural frequency in dark matter that could carry information across vast distances instantaneously. The key, Cameron said, his eyes lighting up with genuine excitement, is not forcing the universe to bend to our will, but learning to listen to what it's already telling us. Luna couldn't contain herself. She stood abruptly, her laughter cutting through the hushed audience like a blade. Listen to the universe. What are you, some kind of cosmic mystic? Her voice dripped with condescension. We're scientists, Mr. Wells, not poets. Your theory violates fundamental principles of physics. Dark matter doesn't have a frequency we can tap into like some celestial radio station. Several people in the audience shifted uncomfortably. Cameron's face remained neutral, though his knuckles whitened around the edges of his datapad. I understand your skepticism, he replied calmly. I've included all my research data, experimental results, and experimental results. Luna interrupted, striding toward the front of the room. You mean the amateur observations you conducted in some backwater station with equipment probably older than both of us? She turned to face the audience, her gesture theatrical. This is the Stellar Institute, not a school science fair. We have standards. Dr. Vance chuckled nervously, and a few others joined in. Luna was known for her sharp tongue, but she was also brilliant. If she said something was impossible, most people believed her. Cameron stood silently for a moment, his gaze moving slowly across the faces in the crowd. Then he looked directly at Luna. His eyes, which had seemed so distant and dreamy before, suddenly appeared clearer, ancient even, as if they had seen things beyond the comprehension of those gathered in the room. You're absolutely right, Miss Thorne, he said quietly. This isn't a science fair. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small metallic sphere, no larger than a marble. It pulsed with a soft, ethereal blue light. This is a functioning prototype. It's currently receiving a message from a probe I sent beyond the Oort cloud 3 months ago. The signal, according to conventional physics, should take hours to reach us. It arrived in 0.3 seconds. The room fell completely silent. Luna's smirk faltered. Cameron placed the sphere on the podium. I came here because I believed the greatest minds in our civilization would want to explore this discovery together. I thought we could push humanity forward, reach the stars we've always dreamed of touching. He paused, his voice growing softer. But I see now that some minds are too busy guarding their thrones to look up at those stars anymore. He picked up his datapad and the glowing sphere, disconnecting them from the display. The complex equations vanished, leaving only empty air where possibility had briefly existed. Luna found her voice. Wait, you can't just. That could be a trick. A parlor game with hidden transmitters. Test it yourself if you want, Cameron said, his tone devoid of emotion. The complete specifications are in the Institute's database. I uploaded them this morning. He turned toward the exit. But I won't be here to help you understand it. Where exactly do you think you're going? Luna demanded, her composure cracking. You can't leave in the middle of a presentation. Cameron paused at the doorway, looking back one final time. I'm going somewhere people still remember, that every great discovery in history was once considered impossible by the experts of its time. His eyes met Luna's. You mocked what you didn't understand because it frightened you. Not the science, the fact that it came from someone you deemed beneath you. With that, he walked out. The heavy doors slid shut behind him with a definitive hiss. For several heartbeats, No one moved. Then Dr. Vance rushed to the main computer terminal, his fingers flying across the holographic keyboard. His face went pale as he read the data Cameron had uploaded. "Luna," he whispered, his voice shaking. This is real. The mathematics are sound. The experimental data is verifiable. He's actually done it." Luna stood frozen, her mind racing. She had just humiliated a man who had potentially made the most significant scientific breakthrough of the century. Around her, people were pulling out their own devices, accessing the uploaded files, their expressions transforming from skepticism to wonder to horror, as they realized what they had just witnessed and what they had lost. Within hours, Cameron Wells had departed the Stellar Institute. Within days, his name was on every scientific journal across the solar system, and within weeks, Luna Thorne understood that she would forever be remembered not for her achievements, but as the person who was too arrogant to recognize genius when it stood right in front of her, speaking with a quiet voice and offering humanity the stars. She had mocked him, he had turned and left, and everyone including Luna herself would remain speechless about it for the rest of their lives.